I think it definitely opened, like I said before, to the possibilities. And one constant that we experienced in every country we went to was love.
Oh.
And it was heartwarming because, as you said, from your previous experiences, even though you've traveled, you still tend to feel like, okay, where's someone's coming to, you know, do something.
Yeah.
But we received so much love, and especially to the family unit. And most of these countries, people didn't look like us.
Right.
But they were always so enamored by the children and just like, oh, it's such like, we noticed at some point, I forget which country we were in, they were like, this one lady stopped us and she's like, this is such a blessing that, you know, because we had the 3 kids, like, and we realized at some point the mindset in the States was more like, oh, you got your hands full, like 3 kids. Oh, how could you do it? Like, it was more of a burden. But everywhere else, it was, people were just so bright-eyed and excited to see a family.
That is so heartwarming to hear. It reminds me of one of my trips to Guinea, where I was on a flight, and you know, as Americans, you're trying to keep your kids like close by, and you don't want them to make no noise, and you don't want them to aggravate anybody, and you're trying so hard, and it can actually cause some travel anxiety when you have children. And you know, my children are smaller than yours.
Right.
But I would be on.
I remember those days though.
And though the women and men on the flight would help with the children, and they're like, "Oh, why are you holding her? Let her go! Like, we're on a plane. Where is she gonna go?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't want her to bother.
I don't want her to bother."
And they're like, "Oh no!" And I'm like, "Wow, how interesting is that?" So to hear you say that in other countries you could feel the love for family,
yes,
it's freaking amazing to me.
Yeah.
So now you're on this trip, you're going around the world, and I know a lot of times people do a lot of traveling and they kind of skip over Africa. But
that was, I teased my husband. I was like, is this an Africa or bus trip? We have a bus, Africa or bus?
Yes. So you end up in Africa. Well, where did you start in Africa?
Just strategically based on flights, which as you start to research, you'll see what works best, but you do end up having to follow the flow somewhat. So we did visit Egypt, was the first part of the continent we landed in. And we spent we had some good times there for sure.
Whoa, how long did you guys stay in Egypt?
We were there for 3 weeks.
Ooh, that's some good time.
Yes.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like we could talk all day about the experiences there, but I would say like one of the highlights for myself and the kids, like everyone had the same like open, wide-eyed look, was when we went into one of the chambers in the Pyramid of Giza, and just like being in there, it is mind-blowing.
So you went to Egypt, then you went to, do you remember where you went next?
A couple flights, but then we went to Ghana.
Okay, so you end up in Ghana, girl.
Yes.
Tell me, because now, you know, I'm like an honorary Jamaican. Because all of y'all, I swear, all of my friends are Jamaican. Almost all, okay, one is Bahamian, one is from St. Louis. but the majority of Jamaicans are Jamaican. So, you know,
I think it's a South Florida thing.
Yeah. So I know most people know that Jamaicans consider themselves descendants of Ghana. Mm-hmm. You have the Maroons, and you have it's a whole lot, whole lot, mm-hmm. and that's a direct connection. Even some of the food is like a direct connection,
right?
So tell me about how you learned about your ancestry in Ghana. I know you took the test, but there were some inklings before then, correct?
We did have some inklings, but I felt like, for me, mm-hmm. it started with when we were about to land in Accra. Okay. Every time I return to Jamaica, when I'm just before I land, once I look out the window and I see the land, there's something in my spirit.
I know exactly what you go through.
That just says you're home. And so intellectually, we're going to Ghana and it's a stop and there's ancestry here, but I'm not expecting to feel that feeling because I've never been before.
Right.
And I look out the window and I start to feel that same feeling. So it was almost like a coming home to a place you've never been.
You've never been. I had the exact same feeling.
Yes.
Literally the exact same feeling. As soon as I stepped off the plane, because it was dark when I got there. As soon as I stepped off the plane, it was like,
whoa. Why?
Whoa. It was the exact feeling that I had when I was in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand why I had that feeling in Jamaica. I just felt because all of my friends are Jamaican. I'm like kind of like a little bit Jamaican on the side over here. So that's why I thought I felt like that in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. But when I went to Ghana, I literally had that same feeling, but even stronger because of course I'm not Jamaican. But it was that similar feeling. It was just even more so. So to hear you say that, like, this is the very first time I'm hearing it like that from someone who I know is Jamaican, who understands that feeling from going to Jamaica, and now you got that same feeling going to Ghana. So that is just like really blowing my mind right now. So what happens next? You get there, you're getting off the plane, you having that feeling, and now what happens?
Just more familiarity, even not just the land, but the people.
Yeah.
You felt like, doesn't that look like so-and-so's cousin? Or doesn't that look like it looks, the features, the way they walk, just the mannerisms. Yeah. You feel like, do I know them? Or how is this happening? Yeah. So definitely just that familiarity.
Yeah, it's so familiar. So now you've been to, I don't even know how many. You know how many countries you all have been to?
22.
Damn. 22 countries, and you arrive in Ghana. You're having this same familiarity, really strong. What did you learn while you were in Ghana? Because of course, this is your first time. I'm sure you did some research, but what did you actually learn while you were? For more on this video, please click the link in the description below. Thank you.